Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the FMJ weapon perk. I know there's a lot of confusion around it, even though it's a pretty straightforward perk. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is what it actually does in game. Obviously, it's going to help with the kill streaks and stuff like that. We're not going to really touch on that portion. We're going to primarily focus on the bullet penetration portion. And I went ahead and tested different weapon categories. I tested the PKM, the M4, the MP5, and just a standard 1911 pistol, so we can kind of get those head-to-head comparisons if you're shooting through some kind of concrete, through wood, through metal, and if FMJ is actually going to be helpful. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. If you do enjoy the video or learn something new, make sure you hit that like button. Goal on today's video is 2,500 likes. If you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, just make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. So here's a little bit of what I did for the testing. I went on different maps to kind of test different things. Within the gunfight mode, you can actually see the health at the top. So you can see me kind of shooting through the object, doing various tests with and without FMJ, so I can actually have a baseline and then getting an expected value. Obviously, looking directly at the person without any kind of cover and getting what those values are. One of the things that is a little bit inconsistent with the testing, and you will probably see a little bit of it when you use it yourself, is that when you shoot through metal that is rigid like this, where it kind of goes up and down, depending on what angle you hit the object at, same thing with the wood or the concrete, it's going to deal less damage if the angle is a little bit more extreme. So there are cases where if I shoot through the object, I only deal 5 damage instead of 25 or whatever the case is. And that's pretty much how that part works. So let's go ahead and look a little bit further ahead. So we'll see it in the example right here. You can see that I deal 8 from 100 down to 86, which is 14 damage. If I change the angle just slightly, it ends up dropping down to 10. So all the measurements I took were mostly perpendicular, like lined up with the object. But you can see I'm landing a couple shots there. But overall, if I go ahead and take the angle, it can do as little as 5 damage in some of these scenarios. So I did some testing over on shipment. I used the metal right here. I did on shoot house. I made sure I shoot through the, because these are typical things that you experience in a regular match. And then I'm going to talk about when it's useful to use FMJ and then maybe when it's not for those different objects. And then obviously for the concrete, to keep it as consistent as possible, I shot through the concrete on shoot house as well. So right here's where I tested the concrete on this type of concrete. Obviously there's several different things I could have tested, but then we make the video like 30 minutes long. You can see I'm shooting through and I'm not getting any hit markers in that area. So once I've done all the testing, I put it into the spreadsheet. I have the weapon type, the expected damage, what the object I was shooting through, the percent difference between the expected and the object, with FMJ on that same object, that percent difference to the expected, and then for concrete, same thing, metal, same thing. And then right here, we'll talk about too, these ends up being the shots to kill and how that's going to affect time to kill when it comes to Warzone. Overall, when it comes to the LMG right here, you can see it does 31 damage at the toe. With the wood, it dropped it by 5, which is a 16% loss. With FMJ, you kind of close that distance. And you can see there's like a 10% difference between these numbers right here. And these all end up being about 3 more than it was when just shooting through the wood without FMJ. So it is helping out, but it's never getting you back to the expected damage value of just shooting someone out in the open. So it will help, especially on wood. It gets that TTK a little bit closer. As you can see right here, it was 9 before shooting through wood. If you shoot through wood without FMJ, it's going to lower your, it's going to increase your time to kill by 1 shot for the PKM, 2 shots for M4, 3 shots, and then 2 shots you can see for the MP5 and the 1911. When you run FMJ, it makes it so that the LMG will kill about the same. Even though it's doing a little bit less damage, it still does the same number of shots to kill. Same thing with the rifle. It's only one difference instead of 2. And then with the MP5, it helps out significantly because SMGs don't typically have that high bullet penetration. And then the 1911, we're getting that same benefit that we did with the MP5. Now we go into concrete. You can see the concrete, the PKM does 7 damage through the object. And like I said, sometimes a little inconsistent. That's what I was able to get. 10 damage on the concrete, and then 19 with FMJ. So there was a considerable difference here. I just don't recommend shooting through concrete, but M4, you can see that it was 10 before, 15 after, so they both went up. You couldn't shoot with the MP5 or the 1911 on concrete before or after FMJ, so probably doesn't really help much. Just for perspective, it would take 36 and 25 hit markers to kill someone through concrete if they're able to stand still for that long, which is a worse by 14 and 17 shots to kill. Then when it comes to metal, like I said, you still got a little bit of inconsistency, but the most common number that were coming up, 26, 22, 14, 16, and you can see this is cutting the damage by half for the MP5 and the 1911. When it comes to the PKM and the M4, you can see it's around 16 to 21%. We still getting that benefit of FMJ. And then right here, we get 10%-ish, 10%, 36%. So these ones, it seems like the MP5 and the pistols, or like pistols and SMGs, are kind of even there. And then obviously with the rifle, it's kind of a little bit in the middle. And then the LMGs, a little bit different. So this is really all FMJ is doing. It's just helping to keep your time to kill, shots to kill, closer to the original value. You're not ever going to get a damage above the original value by running those, despite it saying that it increases your damage. Bullet penetration goes into that part of it. So if that part makes sense and you kind of understand better of when you should be running FMJ and maybe when you shouldn't, obviously it could be map specific as well, because if you're going to run into shoot house where it's a lot of wood, you can actually experiment with an LMG, get FMJ on there, and you can shoot through majority of the map, versus maybe on another map it's going to be a lot less successful, so it might not be worth it. And it depends on the weapon as well. So, but at least you kind of got a baseline of where it helps, where it doesn't. And based on the numbers, it's looking like you get about a 10 to 15% benefit as far as extra bullet penetration. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, learned something new. If you did, please remember to hit that like button. And if you're brand new, want to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.